If you're struggling to achieve what many people think success is supposed to look like, well, stay tuned because our guests are going to be sharing how they've created fabulous and fulfilling lives by redefining what success means to them. So let's talk. All right. Welcome to the Let's Talk Fabulous show, where we explore our fabulous lives. And I am Gloria Grace Rand, one of the Fab Five hosts, and I really am so looking forward to this topic today. I've been looking forward to it for like a couple of weeks now. So I'm going to just first off go around the room here. Yeah, it's our virtual studio here, and have our guests just, say their name and where they're coming in from. So I'm going to go to my right. Yes, I think left. Yeah, left. Becca, have you start. Just make sure you unmute. There you go.
Sure. I'm Becca Lory Hector, and I'm coming to you from just outside of Bangor, Maine.
All right, excellent. All right, and down below you, I think we've got Akary.
Hello, my name is Akary Busto, and I am coming from Long Beach, California.
All right, excellent. And then next to you, yes.
Hello there. I am Jesseca Brace, and I am currently coming from SeaWorld parking lot in Orlando.
I love it. I love it. Well, it is the summer. Hey, and I'm coming from a little, let's see, southeast of you. So I am in Melbourne, Florida, and I'm so glad that you are all here today. So we're going to be talking about redefining success. But I thought before we get to there, I wanted to just start off by talking about, or just kind of sharing a little video about what are some sort of common myths about success. So let's take a look. Yeah. So I do want to say that, success does mean different things to different people. And, some people have a very traditional idea of success and then others don't. So I really want to encourage our digital audience out there today to let us know, what is your definition of success? And make sure that you also comment live or replay so we know what's going on with you. When are you watching this? And and we also encourage you to have pen and paper handy, because I know our guests are going to be sharing some amazing strategies for how they redefine success. So I think before we jump, well, actually, no, you know what? I'm going to ask our lovely esteemed panel here, were there any of those myths that sort of resonate with you, or that you absolutely are like, yeah, that's 100% a crazy myth?
I'll start. The Ruth one really came out at me, because in my corporate life, I was working in banking in the financial industry, and a lot of us don't really know what it is. You think financial industry and you think, oh, well, I go to the bank. And that's really not it. And for a long time, we were consistently told this is not a sales job, but wow, we have monthly goals and quarterly goals, and how ruthless it can be when you're working in that kind of environment where you have so much competition. And it really stood out, because I really believe that you could collaborate and everyone can win. But there were folks out there that, they did not believe that. They believed that they had to be ruthless.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And in fact, I think this is a good segue. I'm going to go ahead and play your video so we have a better idea now of what you think success is.
Hi, my name is Akary. I want to tell you about what success used to look like for me. Coming from a really big corporate world, it was numbers, accomplishing things, the non-sustainable travel, and the one-man band taking care of it all. Saying yes to things when I should have said no. Taking on more projects than I should. And now what I realize success looks like in my life is tracking my sleep, tracking my diet, tracking my movement, and making sure I continue to grow in my resilience so that I can model healthier ways of showing up, not just for my family, but for those that are around me that look up to me as a role model. That's what success looks like.
So I like that idea a lot. I think it's great. So was there like a particular moment when you really realized that it was like, okay, this is not how I want to be? I really want to focus on those, those three things that you talked about.
Yeah, I think once my office closed in downtown Los Angeles, the choices were either move to London or stay here and be unemployed. And I had to really think about that because we identify as our career. Mm-hmm. So having that removed from me, all of a sudden I had to really bunker down and realize, okay, so what do I want to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? And I realized that it is unfortunate, but the way the system works is that it really isn't family oriented. And I had to reevaluate how I wanted to show up for my family. They didn't need a mom who was out all the time, chasing numbers, chasing status. They needed a mom that was much more present. And that's when that realization came that it was sacrificing my family. It really was sacrificing my family who needed me to be more present.
Yeah. It's an important lesson. And I know sometimes it can be really challenging when you've got, I don't know if you were like the main breadwinner, shall we say, in your family or not.
I was not, but at the same time, we live in a society where it's a double income. In order to be able to experience a fuller, richer life, you need two parents working, and that's just the reality for some of survival. So it really created a lot of conversations around how we needed to strategize and reorganize ourselves to prioritize that, the family, the core of the family. Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate that you have been able to, figure that out, and it means such a difference. I know, it makes such a difference. So I'm gonna show another video right now, and unfortunately, one of our speakers had that family obligation because her son got her sick, so she wasn't able to make it today. But she did share a video with us, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then maybe we can, each of you might want to comment on it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jesseca Tighe. I'm a psychologist and leadership coach, and I'm very excited to be a part of the Let's Talk Fabulous show. So in thinking about this video, here's something that I wish I would have learned sooner in my leadership journey as a healthcare administrator. I used to think that success meant climbing the ladder fast and saying yes to everything and working harder and longer than everybody else. But I found myself working nights and weekends. I found myself reading my email with my morning coffee. I was working Sundays so that Monday wouldn't be so crazy. And on top of all of that, I was on call 24/7, 365. So all that did was burn me out. And when I looked at all of that, what I realized is that this version of success really wasn't mine. It was just what I thought I should want. It was what the culture was telling me what success looked like. And now I define success very differently. I want to make an impact without being exhausted. I want to have boundaries, and boundaries are a part of my everyday plan. Rest is non-negotiable. It's just as important as work and focus. And if something doesn't align with my values or it doesn't push me forward, then it's a no. So if you're a leader and you're feeling the pressure, just know that you can rewrite the rules, and your version of success is valid, and it's probably better than whatever you're doing to burn yourself out.
So I'm gonna call on Jesseca here, since you're our other Jesseca today, and have you. What are your thoughts on what she was just sharing? That.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with the burnout, and my career was interesting. I actually started in nursing school. And on my 5th year of nursing school, with only 3 classes left to get 2 degrees, a bachelor's in nursing and a bachelor's in psychology, I walked away because I realized that I was already burnt out before I even graduated.
Oh,
and, I went on and was like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And then, I did that successfully, and I built this huge business. And again, at the I think it was 15-year mark, I was burnt out. I was done. I was working. I was very successful, traveling all over the world, celebrity clients, private jets, mansions on the beach for my clients, and all kinds of things. And I was done. I was tired. And, for me, my shift was my husband of 18 years passed away, and I found myself a single mom with 1 income and 2 babies on my hips. And I just was like, I can't keep this pace. I need to find something else.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine what you had to go through. And I know we're gonna hear from your video a little bit later in the show, but oh my goodness. Becca, any thoughts that you have about this?
Well, I'm noticing similarities already. I can't help it. But we all have kind of run into a couple of things that I feel like are similar, and I think we'll talk about more. It's both videos you've seen talked a lot about saying yes all the time, right? Which was definitely one of my traps as a person, trying to at least put out that image that we're perfect, right? And saying yes to everyone so that they like us and all of those things. And I think that, was something that really resonated with me from that video.
Yeah, I know that's definitely a lesson that I've had to learn as well, is that, this people pleasing thing and not having boundaries is really a recipe for, not necessarily disaster, but definitely a recipe for stress and possible burnout. So it is, and it's not cool at all. Well, before I'm gonna play another video in a minute, but I would love to know from any of you, how do you measure a successful day in your life now compared to what you did before? Go ahead, Jesseca.
I measured it differently. It was really interesting in working in coaching at a complete point of burnout. She always kept saying, you need to fill your cups. You need to fill your cups. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I'm like, what is this proverbial magical cup? And where do I get some? Because I need a whole lot of them. And it was just like, now, like, defining success is like, am I happy? Like, do I feel good? Like, are my cups filled? And do I have anything else? If my cups aren't filled, I say no. Like, no matter how glorious and exciting and adventurous it may seem, if I'm feeling empty, then I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to, learning to say no and learning to say, hey, you know what, I need a break. Like, I think in our society, they don't, you're not supposed to have a break. You're supposed to go all the time. Like, drink more Starbucks, take more of this, keep going, caffeine up and punch it out, and that literally almost killed me. And, I'm just not there. So I just really define success. Like, did I spend time with my children today? Did I move something forward today? I don't have a huge checklist of things that I need to move forward. Like, I must. Like, did I move something forward today towards my goals? And that's enough. That's really all I need right now.
I felt that deserved it. How about you, Akary?
Defining my success today really looks like, as you know, I'm a human design, like I live it, right? I'm living it. And as a generator type, I want to make sure that I have done enough through my day to move so that I can actually go to bed. Otherwise, my brain's always like on a loop of thinking about things. So I really prioritize moving and doing stuff and being active enough so that after my day is done, I feel good. I have that satisfaction of there were things that I touched and maybe I need something for later, but there's nothing, unless it's urgent. I just love flowing through my day.
Yeah, I love that. I like this, what Kim is saying here. So people who don't have boundaries can accept or can get upset when you start to.
Yes.
They don't always like that, do they? It's like, and they'll, I don't know if any of you have ever been like accused of being selfish, and if you're not doing what they want, and I learned this, like, well, wait a minute, aren't they the ones being selfish because they're wanting me to do something that they want? I don't know. How about you, Becca? Oh, I'm sorry, Akary.
So
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think we do that to each other too. We sometimes show up needing validation from others, and the only way that we can get that validation is by proving our worth. And if we're not doing more, then we're not worthy. And so that really is a piece that we don't really touch on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Becca, how do you measure success now compared to before?
Well, I ask myself different questions now. Like the conversation in my head is different. Some of the most powerful work that I've done for myself is to change that internal conversation in my head, because many times I was trapping myself by my own thoughts, right? And I used to kind of ask myself those questions, like, did I meet everyone's expectations today? Did I stay busy enough? Did I check off all my to-do lists? Did I, right? And I would ask myself those questions at the end of the day. But now I ask myself at the end of the day, did I honor my energy today? Am I communicating clearly today? Did I stay aligned with my goals and my values and my priorities today? So for me, success really looks like a balance and like an evenness that I didn't have before.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's striving for balance, or I like to use the term harmony, because sometimes having things, equally, in balance doesn't always work out, because sometimes you do have to spend more time in an area than others. So I feel harmony is a little bit more rounded, well-rounded anyway. I love that. So I'm going to putting myself here for a second. So I'm going to share something right now that I think is also, it's kind of cool that we discovered this. So this past week, Tamara Hunter, who's the creator of this program, and I were at an event that was sponsored by E360 TV, our lovely network that we are streaming live on. And we met some amazing people at this event, including a singer-songwriter couple. And, we love to be able to have original music on this show. And when we met this amazing couple, who are also going to be actually having their own show on the E360 TV network, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but they showed me one of their songs that they had written, and I thought it was so in alignment with in alignment with what we're talking about today. So I'm going to let you enjoy this lovely song, and that is from Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I know they're watching today too, so it's getting its premiere on the Let's Talk Fabulous show today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Na 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 na. Open your eyes and find you lost reality. Look up from way down there
that someone cares. Unpack your clothes and things and find yourself a pair of wings, and we can fly away back to here. La-da-da. Don't be sorry, sorry to say goodbye, 'cause I know you will find your way to live again out loud. I'm not sorry, sorry to see you go, my friend, 'cause I know you will find your way back to here. La da da. Open your eyes and see your new identity. Break through the atmosphere. We want and need you here. Unpack your heaviness, clear out the monsters of the past, and let's find our way back to here. Na na na. No, you're sorry, sorry to say goodbye, but I know you will find your way to live again out loud. I'm not sorry, sorry to see you go, my friend, 'cause I know you will find your way back to here. Open your eyes, open your eyes, my friend. Na, 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 na. Na, na. Na, 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 na. Sorry, sorry to say goodbye, but I know you will find your way to live again out loud. Live again. Sorry to see you go, my friend, 'cause I know you will find your way to here. Na, 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 na.
Oh, goodness. So, yes, Janine and Tracy Smith are the fabulous team behind that music video, and their show, Rockstar Diaries Healing Out Loud, is premiering June 25th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on the E360 TV network. So I hope if you want to learn more about them, you will check it out. Anybody want to comment about that video before we move on? Because I'm gonna play Becca's video in just a second, but I don't know if anybody was struck by that one as much as I was. I would love to. Let's see, who can I? Maybe I'll just put somebody in the spotlight. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put you, Becca, in the spotlight. Ha!
Well, I thought it was a lovely, beautiful song. And I'm certainly excited that they're getting their own show. I'd love to hear about their journey and kind of what their healing journey was. It's one of the things that I find most fascinating to learn about people.
Yeah, for sure. Because it all stems to, again, trying to figure out what definition of success do we want to abide by? What is the one that we want to have? So I'm going to go ahead and now we're going to share your video so people can get to know a little bit more about you.
Hi, I'm Becca Lory Hector, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what success really means, especially as a multiply disabled autistic person. For a long time, I thought success meant being productive. If I wasn't constantly doing, achieving, or checking boxes, I felt like I was failing. But chronic illness and burnout taught me something different. I had to learn how to listen to my body, my energy, and my truth. And it turns out success looks really different when you're not trying to outpace yourself. Now I define success by one simple question. Did I honor my capacity today? Some days that means writing a chapter, and other days it means taking a nap with my cat. Both count. So here's my tip. Stop measuring your success by how much you do, and start measuring it by how gently you treat the person doing the work. You.
I love that. I love that so much, especially that you have that little feline behind you as well. So, yeah. So
Actually, he might be behind me right now.
yes,
So
there
he
it is. I love it. So, yeah, talk to us because you definitely have a unique journey. So you've had, and I've known you for a little while, so I would love to have you, especially if there's anybody out there in our audience who is kind of going through similar things. So how has that impacted your definition of success?
Well, it's a really big shift to find out in adulthood that you are autistic or neurodivergent. You have to kind of re-understand yourself and re-understand your identity. And I didn't get that information introduced into my life until I was 36 years old. So I spent 36 years of my life on this planet not knowing that and really trying hard to figure out life and not doing a great job about it. And like a lot of people, since I couldn't figure out things for myself, I followed, the version of success that was given to me, all of the you should be doings and you're supposed to be at this age, and all of those things. And I spent, decades doing that, chasing that, not because I wanted it, but because I really thought that those expectations were real. Right. That I had to live in this box. But once I got my identification and I started to understand my own self, my needs, my wants for real, right? Not the ones the world told me to have. I really started redefining a lot of things in my life. And success was one of the first things that I had to tackle. It was a dirty word in my life because I really was chasing something I didn't want.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you were able to figure that out. And we do, come under that. It's like there are so many people that have, ideas of what we should look like. And it can be from like well-meaning family members. It can be from, friends or coworkers or, I'm an entrepreneur, so it can be, coaches and things like that. But you really do have to figure out what it looks like for you and what you want to do. How do you handle those moments maybe when maybe you question or have you like question whether you made the right choice and how has that worked out for you? Oh, you're muted.
I do this all the time. I think that for me, I used to not trust myself. Right. I had a world around me that constantly told me whatever I was doing instinctually was wrong. Right. That my natural state wasn't the way to be and I should be doing it differently. So I spent a good portion of my life not trusting my own instincts, not trusting myself to know my own needs and wants. And so I think now that I've done a lot of work on myself, one of the big lessons I've taken with me is relearning that trust in myself and letting it go. Really saying I've done the work on myself enough that I trust future me to be able to take care of whatever it is. Right? Like I did that work. I trust myself that when I get whatever scenario is coming, when I'm in it, this me will know how to take care of it. Right? Because this is the version of me, little me needed. Right? And that's a really big one is really because they're right and wrong are very, it's a crazy idea, right? We all have our own versions of what right and wrong are, right? And so once you understand that and you start to look at it through your own lens instead of other people's expectations, I think it gets easier.
Awesome. Akary, how about you? What, how do you handle those moments maybe when you might find yourself questioning? Is it similar to what Becca was talking about?
Very similar. Learning to trust myself and just in what I know about me now, because exactly what Becca was saying is, of course, the younger me had the expectations that had been placed on me by my parents, by my family, and trying to make other people happy versus making myself happy. So finding my joy in my daily life has been, the best thing that I've ever figured out, because now on how I want to feel versus how I want other people to feel about me. And that is very important for me. I think my favorite thing to do now is to continuously connect to my heart and just really understand the science behind the heart, and knowing that pardon me, that there are things that I already know that I didn't know before. And it's stepping into that power that I have been given. And I think that we all have. It's just that we don't sit in that quietness long enough in order to start getting the information to start flowing in. And that's really, really my big, not secret, because I share this with so many different people. And what's really cute is that I have people now giving me little cards or little stickers about she who knows it all, which is your heart. And really it's going back to basics, which to me is connection to myself through my heart.
I love that. How about you, Jesseca? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, it's been learning how to tap into my intuition. So for the longest time, I believed that I couldn't meditate, I couldn't sit still, and all of that. Diagnosed with ADHD, just was like, hey, you know what? I can't do this. I can't slow down. I'm a fast person. I have a fast brain, and then I realized the BS that I was telling myself about that. And when I discovered breathwork, so for me, if I need to slow down, I'll do a breathwork session and just be like, it's mandatory. Before I make a decision in my business, before I decide the big things, I need to tap into me and know what my true self is without all the filters and all the noise. And so it took some skill to do that, and a lot of practice, but now I'm there, and, it doesn't have to be a big hurrah now. I need to lay down and go to an ashram and take a yoga class and do all these things and drink special cocoa and tea and all that. I can just sit quietly now and just tap in, because I've built that muscle over time. And I make decisions from there, from my inner space, not my outer space.
Yeah. I love that, because you bring up a good point, is that sometimes we really do overthink things when it could be really just simple.
Yeah.
I love that. So, all right. Well, now that we're on you, I'm gonna share your video right now so we can learn more about your story.
For a long time, I accepted and chased the version of success that was handed to me. The titles, the trophies, the hustle, proving your value, and performing. And I found myself living in a world of extreme performance. I worked for Tony Robbins, and I was immersed in a culture that screamed, if you can't, then you must. Achieve more, do more, be more. And I did. I built a multi-six-figure business, celebrity clients, and all the glam. But the more I achieved, the more disconnected I became. I found myself disconnected from my body, my truth, and my joy. I lost who I was. And I can remember the exact moment where I redefined and rewired my beliefs about success. I was in New York City on stage at an event with some pretty powerful speakers, including Marianne Williamson. As I stood on stage, I looked out across the audience. The seats were filled. Their attention was riveted on me, and every word that I spoke was met with nods and smiles. It was then that I realized that my words were my truth coming from my heart, and also that my reality was far from my words. As I spoke to these women about being courageous, bold, and brave to speak and tell your story, to be the bright light in the darkness and share it with the world, I realized that I was lying. I was hiding my ugly truth, because here I was standing on the stage, boldly telling everyone to speak their truth, when my reality was the opposite. My reality was that I was about to walk off that stage polished and sparkly with all the glitz and glam. And I was going to home with an extremely abusive marriage where my truth did not exist, where my voice was not heard, and where my inner flame was slowly being extinguished. I was dying. And in that moment, in that one moment, I made a decision to change. And I learned that redefining success meant coming home to myself. It's not about doing more, it's about feeling more. Success, it's wellness, it's nervous system balance, it's peace, it's soul alignment, and it's the freedom. Because success is choosing to rise on my own terms.
You know, I'm noticing a theme here. I don't know if the rest of you feel that, but it's like, you know, being more, feeling more. It's not necessarily about doing more, even though we do have to do stuff in order to be able to succeed in whatever it is, taking care of our bodies or, you know, doing our work or whatever it is. So share a little bit more about that, Jesseca, because it was, you know, especially that maybe that time when you were really having to just kind of like take that step back. I can only imagine it's like you being on that stage and, you know, realizing, this is not right.
Yeah, it really was this pivotal moment. Like, you're invited to New York City, you're on stage, you're hanging out with Marianne Williamson, who you've followed for years, you know, you've made it. But then I couldn't own that I made it. Like, my heart knew that I could not take ownership of that success because I was lying. Because I was lying, like, I believe wholeheartedly, and all those words came from my heart, but I was not living those words. And it was just such this disalignment in me that it was like, you know, I need to change and I need to do something, and it needs to be pretty drastic. And, you know, that was just one of those defining moments that you have in your life. Like, you know what, this isn't me. And I thought it was, and I was trying to follow along, you know, fake it till you make it, you know, be great. And, you know, all these things. And I was like, no, just no more, not one day more am I going to do this. And, you know, I flew home, and that was it. That shifted everything in my life in that one moment.
Wow. I'm thinking right now, if someone out there is, you know, watching this and they're listening, and maybe they have an idea of success and that they're trying to, but maybe it isn't working for them. What would, and I'm going to pose this to each of you, what would be something that you would recommend they do? What would be like the first thing that they should do to start figuring out, you know, I guess what success means to them? So I'll start with you since you're here.
Sure. So for me, it was, what do I value? You know, and for me, like, what are my core values? And there's tons of exercises out there, you know, coaching, therapy, online quizzes, whatever. Like, what was my values? And my core values was integrity, love, and family. And, you know, so it was really, I'm not in integrity, I'm not putting my family first, and I wasn't loving myself. So I was completely misaligned with my top 3 values that I had. So of course it wasn't working. Of course, you know, I was sick, my body was sick, and I was suffering. And, you know, realigning and getting real about what it is that you want, because there is no rules. You can do whatever that you choose to. I mean, we have everything at our hands. We have Google, we have AI, we have internet. You can, you know, make $1 million from your phone. Is not a cliche these days. You know, it's legit. And it was just really getting real with myself. That was the biggest thing. Like, who am I when I put down what the expectations are, when I put down what other people think, what I think that other people think, which is a whole trip in itself, because it's usually not even what they think, you know, and you're just creating this whole story around that. But when you put all those masks down of what you think and you get real about what you are, things change, and they change rapidly because your energy changes, and then you start attracting more of what it is that you do want.
Yeah. Thanks. I love that. How about you, Becca? What would you say to someone out there?
I want to kind of roll right off of that, because I too started with my values. But something that I did secondary to that was to begin to really evaluate my own value, right? Because one of the things that I didn't understand was that I inherently had value just the way I am, right? It was very attached to, I have value because I'm this, or I'm doing that, or I have this title, or I've gotten this far, or I live in this place, right? And not because I'm me and I have value just like that, right? And so I really had to kind of step all over the place and all over my own kind of thought patterns and kind of shake that all away and re-understand that just exactly like I am, I have value. And when you do that, you stop giving it away so fast, right? As soon as you understand that you are important, your time is important, your energy is important, you don't give it away quite so freely. And that's when everything starts to shift, or at least it did for me.
Yes. All right. Just a reminder, folks. Yeah, there's such golden nuggets being shared here today. So how about you, Akary? What would you tell someone?
I think now more than ever, it is important for so many of us to step up, and very similar to what these beautiful women are sharing, that there are so many different resources, and it is our time to show up and to be the role models that we did not have, and to show the world, and especially our younger women coming through, to pass the baton to them so that they can live a completely different reality because they choose to step into this. It is no longer that guilt of having to do things and the cultural stuff that is put on us, and the many layers of BS that keeps being passed down. And it's holding ourselves responsible, especially if you have, daughters or nieces, that you get to show up for them in a different reality so that they know that they have options. We have options. And it's emphasizing them and teaching them how to do it, being mentors to people. We don't have enough mentors out there. It was very difficult for me to have a mentor growing up, and I want to be that for women. I want to be that for the women who are ready to take that bold step into their authenticity, because authenticity vibrates higher than love.
Absolutely. And I'm going to interrupt our wonderful discussion here just for a moment, because I've been seeing some purple hearts go by, and I'm just going to play a little video about that. Yeah, so we have something here called the Purple Pen Hearts Club, and we just like to honor folks who are part of that journey and know about it. And you mentioned something, Akary, but I think I also want to just address, because we do have men watching the show as well, and I think also that frankly men have this even greater pressure on them of to succeed, that there's certain ways, you got to be the breadwinner, or you've got to you do have to work hard for the money, all these wonderful expressions that we have. So what would here I'm gonna go back to you, Akary. What would you say to a man out there right now?
I am so glad that you asked that, because men matter. Matter, and men are the ones that really create that balance between the yin and the yang, and the divine feminine and the sacred masculine, and they are so needed. So as men start stepping into their own power, it allows that balance to happen, where there is not that much pressure put on a woman to do everything, right? Because a lot of us just have that social conditioning that when something is missing, we step in. And sometimes what needs to happen is that they need to step in, and they need to be allowed to shine. And so the more that we hold space for that, I think the more it will allow them to feel safe in the world, to show up in their authentic selves, which is their strength. And they get to redefine what that looks like along with their partner. And that is what matters. If it happens to work in the home the way it works in the home, then that is the gift that gets to be spread and there's a ripple effect. There's definitely a ripple effect, and I appreciate the men who are doing their work. I honor them, and I look forward to being there to hold space.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Jesseca?
I was just kind of thinking earlier about the balance when you were saying balance, and balance is definitely a word that I don't like either, because in order to have balance, you have to have imbalance. So people are always striving for this perfect balance for everything when it doesn't exist. Like there has to be, you know, like the sun goes up and then it's dark and it's light. There is no balance in the middle. Like the sun just doesn't hang in the middle of the sky and stop. So it's just like the way that it is. And I think that, you know, masculine, feminine, within, outer, all of those things, it's like we've been told this big story that there's this balance of like this space, and it's just not there. You know, the only thing is just like, and it isn't even like it, and it changes. Like, what do you want right now in this moment? Because, you know, for me, I know that tomorrow I could want something totally different. For what I need. My needs change, and you know, accepting that is been part of the biggest process of not only like figuring out what I need and tapping into it, but also accepting that my needs change.
Oh, that. Yes, absolutely.
Very appropriate with the flames.
Yeah, yes. Becca, how about you? What are your thoughts here?
It's really interesting to me because I don't think a lot about the gender dynamic, which is interesting, right? I really, I don't think about it in this context. I think there are some people who are ready to become self-aware and want to go on that journey. And there are some people who this time around, the sun is not theirs. They're just not interested in change. They're not interested in being self-aware. And I think that regardless of your gender, you fall into those groups, right? And so I certainly myself have, in this personal development journey, have found lots of men who felt left out of their manhood because they, you know, felt more intimate and felt more belonging amongst groups of women talking about these kind of things than they did amongst men talking about traditionally man things, right? And so I think, you know, what I'd rather talk about is the people that are aware and are interested in awareness, and the people that are unaware and would like to stay unaware, is as two separate groups.
I love that. Yeah. That makes sense. So it's about honoring the person, isn't it? And what their needs are, and how they can, again, you know, define success on their terms, whatever that looks like, because it is different for everybody. And that's what I really hope our audience is taking away from this discussion today, is that you get to decide what it looks like for you. And as Jesseca said, you know, you can change. You can change your mind tomorrow and decide that is something different, and that's okay. And that's the beauty of just being secure in who you are and learning that. And so we've got just a couple of minutes left in the show. So I would love to go around one more time and just, I think maybe one last thing that might be good to just briefly talk about is, you know, we have talked a little bit about self-care. So what, maybe just like one or two sentences of like, what's one thing that maybe a success metric that people overlook that has really become crucial to your well-being? So how about you, Akary? What do you think?
I think it's our health. You know, I really believe that we don't look at our health deeply enough. You know, when I'm thinking about like metabolism, when I'm thinking about all of these different things that affect us in the long run, I think it's not about longevity, it's about the quality of your life. And we can't pour from a, you know, space where we're not healthy, we're not moving, we're not eating correctly. The three pillars, right? Mental, the mind, the body, and the soul. So it's caring for those three.
I love that. Yeah. How about you, Jesseca?
Yeah, for me, I just went through an experience recently where it was a tipping point. It was kind of like the best way to describe it is like I had really bad and things were really stressed out, and I was like flatlined. And then I started doing breath work and meditation and taking care of myself and exercising. And I got to like this point here where the needle was straight up, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is good. This is so much better than being flatlined. Like this is really good." But in recent past few months, I've gone through this change of this self-awareness, learning to say no more, getting really clear on what I want and learning to tap in. And I'm way over here. So I feel like I'm flatlined on the other side now. And I didn't realize how good that could be. Like I thought that this was like the holy grail of where I was supposed to be. And I realized that there was so much more beyond that when I focus on like my whole entire existence now is like, is this regulating my nervous system? How do I feel with this? So that's kind of my checkpoint. Like, am I feeling anxiety today? Am I feeling, and I don't have any judgment on my feelings. They are what they are. And I just check in. Am I being present with it? Am I future forecasting it? Or am I living in the past? Like, where am I and where is this emotion and this feeling coming from? And just allowing it and then moving through it. And that for me has been such a big shift. And it's like, going through this healing process, I'm at this point now almost like I have a whole new gravity. Like I jump timelines to a whole different planet. Like I'm experiencing like the sound of the trees or the rain on my skin or the way that food tastes or everything is like completely different than it was because I finally reached this point where I'm not going like regulated, not regulated, regulated, not regulated. I'm just like here and here I am. And so that it has become my ultimate priority. Is like, how do I stay in the state of here I am instead of fighting so hard to regulate myself?
I love that. All right. Becca, how about you?
For me, it's autonomy. I really had very little autonomy part of most of my life. And I think that having the ability to decide for myself what things mean, what things are important, what things I value, what things I prioritize, what I do with my time and energy, right? What I do, what I wear, all of those things, and being able to truly have that autonomy, that freedom of choice to build what I want to build. That is success to me.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, there's been so much good stuff. I have to go back and listen to this whole show again and like take notes for myself because I'm immersed in listening to you all. And I hope everyone has just gotten so much value out of it today. I just want to thank each one of our guests and also thank Jesseca Tighe, even though she wasn't able to make it. We're holding you in our hearts for a quick recovery and that you are not coughing anymore. So thank you all for watching and listening today. I hope you took lots of notes and make sure that you go back in and watch it again because there's lots of good stuff here. And make sure that you are also, joining us every week because we've got fabulous hosts. Actually, next week, we're all 5 fab hosts are going to be on the show, in fact, because we're doing our second quarter review. So you definitely want to tune in for that. And so until then, I just want to wish you all a fabulous, go make today fabulous and the rest of your life fabulous.